Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we got to talk. So, one of my favorite channels on YouTube is Coach D Speaks. I've admired Coach D from afar for about a year since I found his channel. Um, I came across his most recent video and I came down immediately to make a response video, and I'm praying that he ends up seeing this video. The reason why this video meant so much to me is mainly because Coach D just sat there and spoke from his heart, and he was open enough to share some emotions that I have personally felt before. Coach D and I, the part of the reason why I admire him so much is because he and I are so alike. He's just a more mature version of what I want to be, what I aspire to be. He and I are both black men, obviously. We're both married. Um, we're both known in our communities. He's a basketball coach, I think basketball coach. Um, I am a employer. I have about 120 employees or so that work in my businesses that I own. I think I own 7 businesses now. Um, so we have some similarities all over the place. When I listen to the man, I like what I'm hearing. So I want to get into this video. I'll stop it every now and again just to give my perspective, but I just felt like this video was really uplifting and incredibly sad at the exact same time. It was uplifting because there was somebody out there who was sharing the same emotions that I've felt before. So it was kind of, I know this is going to sound weird, but it was almost nice to hear that I'm not the only person that's felt this kind of way before. Now, it was also incredibly sad because it sucks that other people are feeling this way. So it was uplifting and sad at the same time. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the video. And then, like I said, I'll stop every now and again. I'll give a couple of thoughts here and there.
So today I was having a conversation with one of my assistant coaches, and it really made me kind of think and reflect a little bit. And I really try not to take things too personally. I really try my best to turn this camera on, talk to you guys about the news of the day, give you guys my opinion on what's going on in the world. And I try to turn the camera off and I try to separate myself from it. But obviously, being a black person in America, that's impossible. So my assistant coach today comes to me and she asked me if I had seen some of the reposts by another assistant coach, by a former assistant coach, someone who coached for us last year but doesn't coach for us anymore. And I didn't know reposts were a thing until my daughter told me about this. I got a text from her that said that someone that she was friends with, who was a former teammate of hers, had some pretty disgusting reposts on her TikTok account. And again, I didn't know this was a thing, and I'm like, what do you mean by reposts? And I've reposted people's things on TikTok, but I didn't realize you could go to someone's page and check their reposts. And she's like, well, the things that she reposts, you can check and see what they're like. And she's just like, I just don't know if I can be friends with this person anymore. So I went and checked that person's repost that my daughter had told me about. And I called her up and I was like, yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy how someone will portray themselves to be one way or put out in the world that they're one way and never be a political person or anything like that, or at least pretend not to be. And then you go to their reposts and it's not just political, but it's racist and it's sexist and it's misogynistic and it's homophobic. And you're just like, I didn't know this person. And
I can tell you, I felt this exact way. It was actually the first time that Trump got elected. There was so many people that I went to high school with, people that I went all the way from elementary school through high school. I thought we were cool. And some of the stuff that I saw them posted on their Facebook page, I'm like, what? I had to delete some what I thought were friends based on what I saw on Facebook. It made me feel incredibly naive and dumb. But then I stopped and thought about it. I'm like, well, how would I have known that they had these kind of thoughts? It's pretty crazy when that happens.
it makes you sometimes think, and I hate to get this serious with you guys, but I feel like this has been a place for me to be able to vent and to be able to talk about things that bother me. But as a black person in this country, it sometimes makes you wonder if you'll ever be enough. Because the repost by this former assistant coach of ours is very racist as well. And understand something. This person 5 months ago called me to have me write a letter of recommendation for them. And I knew this former coach of mine was a Christian. I knew that they were probably a little more right leaning, but the repost on her Instagram was by far way more shocking to me than I would have ever thought. I'm talking outright racism. And I'm just thinking to myself, how does someone reconcile with the fact that they know a black person, they know a black man who is a pillar of the community, who is educated, who is an educator, who is a trainer, who has raised two exceptional daughters? How do you reconcile with like you called me for a letter of recommendation? You called
Just to answer the question, Coach D, the way they reconcile this by they look at you as quote unquote one of the good ones. I've had these conversations before whenever Trump first got elected, and I kept seeing people reposting all this negative and racist stuff all over the place. I would reach out to those folks initially, just a private message and be like, "Bro, what are you doing? Like, what is this?" And what I kept getting back was like, "No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the other black folks and the way that they act." And I'm like, "I am black. My brother's black. You know him. You know all of my cousins. You know all of my family. We're all black, and you like all of us. So where are these black people that you dislike so much?" They look and see stuff that's portrayed on the media, all this craziness that just gets spread all over the media. Whenever they see a black person do one crazy thing, they shoot it all over the place. And it gets fixed in people's minds that that one black person that did something crazy, that's how all the black folks are. And the people like Jordan, me, and the people like Coach D, they're the exceptions. When it's really the opposite. Get what I'm saying? So that's where they get that mentality from. That's why they can look at you and ask you for a letter of recommendation because you're one of the good black ones. You're not like the other 99% of the black folks out there. That's what their mindsets are. And the reason why I know that is because I've personally had those conversations with these people.
called a black man for a letter of recommendation, and then you repost things that are saying the most vile things about black people. And it's just like makes me think like, so this person knows the person that I am. They know my character. And it's still not enough. It's still not enough to have this person at least pause when deciding to repost something that is obviously racist. Like, if you saw this video, you'd know like this is not like where you're like, I wonder if they knew. No, absolutely racist. Like, it was someone basically saying that Donald Trump taking out black artifacts in the Smithsonian, they were talking about that and basically saying, oh, is there going to be like a bottle of Hennessy in there? The first watermelon seed going to be in there? Are there going to be a bunch of stolen things in there? You think my bike is in there? It was stolen recently? Like stuff like that. They posted that. The former teammate of my daughter is a former athlete of mine. And I'm just wondering, like, if someone went up to them and said, yeah, all these black people are DEI hires, would they defend at least me? If nothing else, would they go, nah, I know Coach D. I know Coach
Right.
D, definitely not. Dude is
Right.
exceptional. He's been a state coach of the year 2 times. He's been a champ. He's just won a state championship. He's been a Northern California champion multiple times. Like, this guy is killing it in what he does. I just wonder if that would be it, or would they just go, yeah, I just.
I can tell you right now, no, it's not enough. Like I had some crazy stuff happen to me, and it was right after I ended up getting the award for Small Business Person of the Year for my state. I went to the White House, met the president, and all that stuff, and I still got people saying crazy stuff. It doesn't matter what you do. I'm telling you, I don't want to sound like a defeatist, like we're just all just oh, we should feel bad for ourselves because it's all bad. That's not what I'm saying. But I think the sooner we get our minds wrapped around the fact that what we do is never going to be enough to satisfy them, I think we'll be just fine.
I'm really struggling is not the word, but I'm really having a hard time trying to figure out the disconnect with people. There are people who know me very well, who know me, who know, like my family is known where we live. They people know us because of my accolades in track and field, um, the fact that I've been an educator for years and a coach in this community, a trainer in this community for years, the fact that my daughter, represented the United States at the at the U20 World Championships, is an exceptional track athlete, is just, we're known in this town. I'm trying to figure out the disconnect where people are like, I know Coach D, good person, good man, good father, good husband, all these things, but at the same time will perpetuate the ignorant stereotypes that these people say about black people like me. I know some of them probably, do the whole the thing that they don't think is racist, where they're like, "Oh, you're one of the good ones" or something. Like,
Straight
I
up.
don't know. I'm just,
That's it. That's the answer.
I would defend my friend's culture. I would defend anyone's. Obviously, that's what I do on here every day.
Okay. So let me say this to you as well. This is something that I say all the time on this channel, Coach D. So let me say this. You're talking right now about what you would do. You say that you would defend your friend's culture. I would do the same thing too. But that mentality is what separates our our minds from the MAGA mind. That's what separates us. And that what that thing is called empathy. We have empathy. MAGA, they lack empathy. That's the difference. They look at you, they look at me, they look at all these other successful black folks, they look at black folks in general, and they say, I don't care about them. I just want what's good for my family. I don't care about what's going on over there. I don't care about those starving kids over there. I just want to care about my kids. I don't care about the immigrants who want to come over here to better themselves. I don't care about that. I just want to make sure that I get everything here that I need. They have no empathy, no sympathy. They don't care about other people. So the fact that you're here saying, I would do this like my heart says that I would help my family if they were being spoken about negatively. I would too. But that's what separates us from MAGA. MAGA has no empathy. That's the one word that separates people like Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump and all these other crazy folks in the office. That's the one word that separates me and you from them. They have no empathy. That's it.
I don't see how you can, on one hand, be a fan of Charlie Kirk's and also be a friend to me
Can't be.
or a fan of mine or anything. I just, there's no way. And anyone who is still saying the man was not a racist, they just have
Tripping.
their blinders on. They absolutely have their blinders on. I told you guys about the conversation I had with a guy who texted me and said, "Hey, I just want to apologize to you. The only thing my algorithm was showing me was videos of Charlie Kirk, saying Christian things and stuff like that. And then when you posted that video, I did a deep dive, and yes, he is a racist. And I want to apologize for you for even for a second, like trying to argue with you that he wasn't a racist, because he definitely is."
Please get your information from multiple sources, y'all. I keep saying that. Please do not just go to CNN. Don't just go to MSNBC. Don't just go to Fox News. Get your information from multiple sources, because somewhere in the middle of all of those sources is the truth. All right? Please get your information from more than one source.
So I know those people are out there, and I don't know. I there was a couple of different things I wanted to make videos about today, but then this thing happened, and I think it's healthy for me to talk to you guys about this because I know the comments will always like enlighten me. It's funny because sometimes I think I'm the content, right? But a lot of times I get in the comments and I'm like, no, you guys are the content. You're the content. You're the intelligent ones. And I read through the comments, even times when I don't have time to actually like things or comment on things. I'm reading through them all the time, and I appreciate the enlightenment that you guys give me. I appreciate the support that you guys give me. I guess right now I don't know, man. I'm just feeling like I feel like there was an episode of um, of the Jeffersons one time, and it could have been another show. I'm not totally sure, but the Jeffersons. George Jefferson was a very successful black man, and he maybe allowed himself to forget not that he was black, but about the struggles of black people. And then something happened, and he was reminded, yeah, I'm black.
That's just really similar to what I've said before on this channel, which is also Jay-Z's song, The Story of OJ. It's got some language in there, so I don't know. If you if you can stay in the language, go ahead and check it out. It's called The Story of OJ. And what Coach D is talking about right now is exactly what Jay-Z was talking about in his song.
No matter how successful I am, no matter how good of a father I am, no matter how much of a pillar of the community I am, I'm black. And if I don't remember that, people will remind me of that. And I don't ever forget who I am or where I came from or, that I'm black per se. But I feel like today was one of those days where it kind of slapped me in the face again, where I just couldn't believe this person that I thought was a good person. I mean, I wrote her a letter of recommendation, would repost some stuff that was, and that wasn't the only thing. There was a couple of other videos that were blatantly racist. Blatantly racist. Person who has been to my house, for team functions. I've, recognized them for the good they've done as a coach on my staff. To do something like that, it's disheartening. It really is. It really is. It just makes you go, dang, man. Like it's 2025. It's 2025, and people are still doing this type of stuff. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. As always, I really do. Some days this is just therapy.
Straight up. Sometimes it is therapy. The word that he used, I think, is the perfect word, which is disheartening. I'm telling y'all, I'm not an emotional guy at all. Like I've never cried in a movie before. Like I'm just people usually look at me and they were like, yeah, "You kind of hard to read, Jordan. I don't know what you." I'm like, "Yeah, it's just kind of how I am. I'm like this after we win $1 million contract, and I'm just like this after we lose contracts. I'm the same, typically the same way." Um, but I can admit to like feeling incredibly disheartened, almost want to use the word sad whenever like I would see one of my somebody that I figured was a friend. Maybe I employed this person for a while. Maybe I helped pay this person's bills and all kind of stuff. And then I get online and I see them saying things that are incredibly negative about my community. It drives me crazy. It at one point it used to make me angry, and now it gets me more on the other side, which is like a sad level of like, yo man, like you know me, you know my people. How can you do that? And then whenever they go into the area of like, oh well, I'm not really talking about you. I'm talking about these folks over here. It's like, nah, bro, like you cannot be reposting stuff that Charlie Kirk has done and said and consider yourself being cool with me and wanting the best for me. It's the total opposite. We're on opposite ends here. So I 100% understand what Coach D is saying. I know some folks will say, "Oh, he's whining, he's crying," but I'm telling you, something that who was it? Shannon Sharp said it one time. He said, "Some things only like how did he say it? only the eyes who have cried can actually see certain things. For instance, if someone loses their dog and you're like, you crying over a dog, you wouldn't understand that, bro, because you haven't cried, like you haven't experienced these things that I've experienced, so you just don't understand it. So I totally get where he's coming from. Um, I read through some of these comments on my videos sometimes. like, like the venom that some of these folks come with. I'm like, how can you speak like that to anybody? Like even a stranger. Like how can you talk like that to anybody? So yeah, man, some of this stuff gets crazy. It gets pretty intense. So I really appreciate the fact that Coach D was able to open himself up like this, share some of the thoughts, because I'm telling y'all, he and I seem to have come from a similar background, and we're aspiring to or we're progressing to the same areas. I can really relate to what he's got going on over there. So that's why I wanted to make this video. All right, anyway, so please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. Go continue building this thing one like and one subscription at a time. Thank you. Take care. God bless. Peace.